title is Love is All There Is. Fits perfect with the theme of Valentines. Rumi said, love is the whole thing. We are only pieces. I think that's so beautiful and so science of mind. And he is a science of mind kind of guy. So the idea being that all that is, the whole, is God, and it is love. And each one of us, an individuation of that love, a piece of love. How does that feel? Doesn't that feel good to think of yourself as a piece of love? Some of us want to be a bigger piece than others. We can study fractions a little bit. Allow space for the whole. So, as God is love, we are its expressed likeness. And in that being, we must be love. All of us is love. Just as all of us is God, all of us is love. And I don't mean all of us, I mean all of each of us, and all of us collectively. So, what is love? Love is an essence. It is an atmosphere, and it defies analysis. Now, we're now going to tell you all about it, but it defies analysis. Isn't that curious? How many of us try to do the same thing? I know when I was much younger and dating or in love, I would say, why do you love me? Trying to define what it is. It's impossible.
Maybe it defies definition more than analysis.
Yeah, maybe that's true. So love is the power within you. It is a power. And there is an urge within us. We didn't put it there, and our parents didn't put it there. We came by it naturally. And so when we truly feel love, it's because it's natural for us. When we aren't feeling loving, that is our unnatural state. It is an urge to love and to be loved.
So if God is love, and if God is all that is, then love is who and what and all that we are. There is no other. So there could be nothing else other than that. Any other personal identity is a misconception or a misperception. Any less than self-impression or analysis is a misperception, because if God is all that is, it means every cell moving through my bloodstream right now is God. Every thought in my brain is God expressing through me. Every essence of my life is God as me, through me. And so therefore, if God is love, then I must be nothing more than love, or nothing less than love.
And I see that. I behold that in everything that you do as the way that you live. So there is a science of mind saying, and I've probably said it before, and you've probably heard it before, it is love is the lodestone of life. And I've always enjoyed that saying, and lodestones seem to be like solid for me, like it was grounding me, it was keeping me in place and in love. And
I've always thought it as a cornerstone.
And yet I never really knew what it was. And so when I came across this quote again from Ernest Holmes, I thought, well, why don't I just look it up? And maybe you do know what a lodestone is, but in case you don't, you're going to hear today. A lodestone is actually a naturally magnetized mineral called magnetite. And it possesses polarity, and it has a strong attraction. Now the word lode comes from the English meaning of way or journey, your course. And so it is used as, a lodestone is used as a compass or a guide. In the early days, they actually hung lodestones from a string, and the lodestone would automatically, naturally point to the north, which is pretty fantastic, right? Just like us, we want to point toward the Spirit always in our direction and our thinking.
I think it's fascinating, the idea, there's two concepts of the way a lodestone works. One is that it draws to us that which we believe. We know that our thoughts actually create that which we think. And so therefore, we are actually drawing things to us like a magnet. And it's also the idea that we are actually expelling out into the world, and we are actually drawn to those things which we recognize or resonate with. And but also that idea of being like a compass, the idea that it focuses us into true north, what is ours to do, what is ours to do in the world. A compass is very valuable because it points us in the right direction. And quite often we get off in our thoughts into wrong areas, and we seem to create a separation between what is ours to do and what we think the world is telling us to do. We look within, we find that lodestone, that center core, who we are. It focuses us into our mission, our purpose in life, and also draws us into that, or draws that to us.
Yes, so if my hands are a bar magnet, and this is north and this is south, if you break a magnet into two pieces, it naturally creates a north and a south, and a north and a south. Where they were one with the opposite polarities, they become two, but they still have that balance. They still have that natural guide. And that's like all of us. It kind of reminds me of the Rumi quote, love is the whole thing. We are each those pieces, but we keep our balance. We hold our identity, and our identity is to be spirit in action.
So it gives us another perspective on the idea of being all one with all that is. If God is all that is, with a positive and a negative, or a north and a south polarity, and we break it all up into little pieces, God being the creator, created us and everything else in the universe, then all the pieces have that exact same polarity, that north and south polarity. And so we work and we create exactly the same way that God does.
And Ernest Holmes wrote, love is the self-givingness of the Spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. And that's what we do as we share with one another, as we love ourselves. We show up creating the life that we desire to have. And we always have the power to do that. I've always loved those words. Love is the self-givingness of life. Or life is the self-givingness of life unto life. Because that is, for me, the cornerstone. That is the lodestone of the teaching, is that we are each a givingness. It isn't for us to say, well, why didn't they give me back? You'll get yours back. It might not be from they that you thought it was going to come from. But we will always get it as long as we keep the mind clearly focused on that of our desires.
Yeah, the challenge is there is no us or they. There is no separation except in our own thoughts. There is no division between us and anyone else. We may feel that there is, but there is not. I found this quote this week and I changed it a little bit, that we cannot love at a distance. We can only love that to which we are profoundly connected. And so if we feel that we are separate from something else, we cannot truly love it, because love is the unifying force of the universe. And so therefore we feel that we are separate from it, we cannot actually love it, because we don't feel the connection.
Yes, I love that idea, the unifying energy, because the unifying energy could be called the glue that holds it all together. Love is the glue that holds all of the pieces of love of the universe together. Ernest Holmes says love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. So let's look at an example. And I chose carefully. I chose food because it's not political and it's not religious, and it's not a conflict between you and me, or me and you.
Unless you eat my ice cream.
Well, then we just buy some more. So the idea is, I saw this on a TV show recently. There was a psychiatrist who was a really effective psychiatrist, and he was helping many, many people in his work. And a friend of his came and said, I noticed that you are not eating very healthy, and I noticed that you're not eating very much, and I noticed that you're not going home in the evenings to eat with your family. He had a spouse and children. And he said, you know, my business is my business, you know. Feathers got ruffled at first, but eventually he had a great conversation with her where he looked at how he was adamantly believing that he had healed his past. But once he delved into it a little deeper, he realized that he was passing a lot of his past ideas on to his children, not in the same way that he had received them, but in a new way. And likewise for us, eating is something we must do to survive. We must take food in. And at the same time, we have a relationship with food. We want that relationship. We want all of our relationships, whether it's with food, with people, with our job, with whatever it is. We want it to be of love. And so we want our relationship with food to show up in a way where we feel and believe that we are eating in a manner that says, I love you, I love you, I love you. I take it in to love myself. And you know, that can look in different ways. It can appear in different ways. As David just said, ice cream. We love ice cream. So, you know, we could say we give ourselves ice cream as, I know as a child it was a reward. So do I still have some of that? Maybe, but I don't believe so, personally. You can believe so if you want to, but you don't get a say. So it's more the idea that we eat. It's a private endeavor, and yet we are talking to ourselves about ourselves by the things that we do daily, our daily activities, not just food. So I can say for myself, I eat ice cream because I really enjoy it. And I want to enjoy my life, and I want to tell myself how much I enjoy this and I enjoy life. And someone else could say, you shouldn't eat ice cream because there's too much fat and too much sugar. So we're each telling ourselves a story that we must believe. And if there's any resistance at all, we get the opportunity to look at how to make a shift with that.
So when we look at ourselves, when we find what we call personal defects, we have to realize, well, there isn't really any defect because God is all that I am. And so if I'm defective, God is defective, which can't possibly be true. So therefore, we have to see ourselves and therefore love ourselves out of the situation and love ourselves into the positive life experience the life that we wish to experience. During this time of Valentine's Day, we don't quite often talk too much about loving ourselves, but it is really valuable because, as we know, you can't love anyone else any more than you love yourself. And so you need to start at home, look in the mirror, and say, I love you. And it's a challenge because we see those misperceptions of otherness going on in the mirror. But the truth is, we are lovable, we are loved, we are God in expression. How could we be anything else? And during this time of year, we see so many things about romantic love on the movies. And I'm sure we're going to go home this week and watch Lifetime movies and lovey-dovey things going, because the networks are full of those things right now. If we look at classic fairy tale love stories, they're all examples of seeing beyond apparent differences and separations to the unifying energy of love that connects all of us. Once we find or experience that unifying energy, nothing can ever separate us because the truth is we are one. We have found the truth and who and what we are, and we feel whole because we have brought something into our life that we feel alignment with. So you look at some of these stories. Cinderella and the prince. Cinderella, a low servant girl, and the great mighty prince. What are the chances they would ever bump into each other and find commonalities? But they do, don't they? It's a beautiful story. The princess and the frog. Well, obviously a princess can't have a relationship with a frog until she sees something in the frog that she recognizes as a part of herself and falls in love with that, and poof, miraculously, or it isn't miraculously, poof, turn into a prince. Maybe that idea of the prince was waiting in the frog the whole time, waiting to be released. We see Romeo and Juliet from warring families, completely in argument and fight against each other, feuding all the time. What are the chances that people from each side would actually meet together and find a commonality? Very unlikely, but they do. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. What are the chances that the beauty would ever fall for someone like the Beast and find something beautiful within what appears to be ugly? The truth is revealed. They do fall in love and live happily ever after. The beauty of the heroine is often misunderstood as the point of the story. The point of the story is always that conditions cannot overpower truth. What appears to be separations, what appears to be differences, are misperceptions. The truth is we are all interconnected in one. We all share the one life. And so it's really important to remember that. Going back to the Cinderella story, we just happened to see this Cinderella this week. And I thought, wow, this is really science of mind. Do I love you because you're beautiful? Or are you beautiful because I love you? Forget the next one. Are you the sweet impression of a lover's dream? Or are you really as wonderful as you seem? Now, is that science of mind or what? Are you really as beautiful? Or is this what I think about you that makes you beautiful? Or is it just an impression that I see in you that I'm creating? Or is it something that you really are as your divine essence and your personal expression of divinity showing up in the world?
Yes.
Or is it both?
Both. It is both, and I love those ideas from those. Ernest Holmes wrote in Can We Talk to God? Hate is a human idea. Love is a divine idea. And so when we look at that, Beast is not really ugly. He's not really, but we have built a persona around what is beautiful in human. And think about stories of people who are blind and how they see in a unique way. And I would invite us to see in that way, to see beyond appearances and to see beauty in the divine. Ernest Holmes gives us a little path here forward for how to do this, how to show up as this love and how to show up as the divine in Can We Talk to God? He says that we arrive at the goal through quiet expectation, a joyful anticipation, and calm recognition. That all the peace there is, all the power there is, all the good is the love. And that love is the glue that holds it all together. So there's another song, except now it's me going first, and I don't know if I'll get the first right note, but that's okay because I don't care. I sang it several times in our practicing. And it's also from Cinderella. I love the songs from Cinderella. And David wasn't going to sing with me at first, and then he said, oh, okay, whatever. He's just tossing it to the wind. He said, I don't know that song. But me I don't care, I'm just going to sing any old words anyway. And it's the one where they say, she sings, we are dancing, we are flying, and he's taking me back to the skies.
She is dancing, she is flying, and she's taking me back to the skies.
Very nice, you sang the right melody. Even if I didn't lead it in right. The point is, in that story, yes, that is portraying human love between people, romantic love. But it's so much more than that. I don't know about you, but when I would watch those movies and hear those songs and the dancing, the floaty feeling, and listen to those words, taking me back to the skies, symbolic of being in a heavenly state. And we can do that all alone. If you or I were the only person in the world, we could be in that heavenly state of consciousness, all by ourselves. We wouldn't need someone else, because there is no one else. There is only one whole thing called love. You want to talk about
Yes,
that?
sir. Love is the sole impulse for creation. We know that God creates through its impulse to create. We feel an impulse to love. We feel an impulse to connect. We feel an impulse to join together with others and to be with others. One reason why we're all here. We feel getting together with people of like mind helps us to feel and cement our own personal impressions of life. And so we feel an impulsion to create. The self-lovingness of God is actually what creates, and we do exactly the same thing. We feel an impulsion, we feel a desire to connect and to create. And so therefore we do, and that is love.
And while love is the impulsion, law, which we usually talk about quite a bit, so we switched it up today, law propels the love. And we use this in spiritual mind treatment all the time. We use the love and the law, getting ourselves into a state of consciousness where all we know is love, is perfection, is wholeness, and then release it into the law that must say yes, because the law has no say. Just like I have no say about your life and you have no say about mine, we are one, and what we create together in the collective conscious.
We're always creating. We have no choice but to create, because that is what we are about. Every time you have a thought, you are creating. There's a great saying that at the end of your life, this world will be either more or less compassionate, loving, and caring place because of your presence. What do you wish to express into the world to bring that about? What are you doing to carry out your legacy? This is your move.
And so it is.